What is shaking, everybody? It is that time of year again. It's baseball time. It's March Madness time. It's springtime. It's renewed hope. It's my team can be good, except for the Angels. They're going to suck. But most people are going to be like, hey, this is kind of the fun time of year. Look, anybody that loves baseball loves this time of year. The companion sport is back. It's with you. It's summer's around the corner. And it's a pleasure to welcome one of my good friends. I feel like I have so many friends on the radio that I don't spend a lot of time with, but just we've talked so much over the course of the years. I've said this to Brent Jones, Dave. I just feel like we're really good friends and we never see each other. And I feel kind of the same way about you. We talk all the time, text all the time. Yeah, we don't really see each other all that much. So I appreciate you joining the show. I always have a great time talking to you.
Can we change that? Can we get a little more hang time going?
Yeah, let's do that. And there's no good reason for it. I mean, you're a lot busier than I am, but I'm up for that. I'm up for some meals. I'm up for some beverages, whatever they may be. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make a point of this year getting a little FaceTime.
That's a good goal for the year. We can achieve that one. That's a low bar. That's good for me in goals. Like, set it pretty low. Tom and I are going to hang out a few times this year. We can do that.
I like low bars, and I'm sure everybody that's watching going, okay, great. I'm glad we have that taken care of. Can we move to some baseball now?
Let's do it.
Let's start with Vitello. And I've said this to, I've talked to some of my friends about this. They're like, how do you think he's going to do? And I said, well, to me, it's the same as basketball. When you go from college to pro, it's not so much about the X's and O's. These guys know their X's and O's. If they're a little weak at X's and O's, then guess what? They have coaches that can help them with X's and O's, just like, Steve Kerr did when he took over. Hired Alvin Gentry, guy that did coach in the big NBA before. You surround yourself with guys. Can you lead men? That's ultimately going to be whether he fails or succeeds. Can he lead men? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the early returns are really positive. Just down there for a few days. Now, granted, I have been super busy, so I did not spend a lot of time in Arizona this spring. So I was calling people and getting kind of the, lowdown of how the camp was going. The impression from the last few days of just being there is it was super organized. So I think that's a good sign. Again, like to your point, it's probably ultimately not about that kind of stuff, but it's better to go down there and feel like, okay, he's got some good people around him who knew exactly how to run things. He's leaning on Tingler. He's leaning on Ron Washington. So maybe that's a good parallel with the Alvin Gentry thing.
Yeah.
He's got some good people who really know what they're doing around him. Everything was very, not just smooth, but high energy, perky, peppy. Work was sort of the theme of the spring. All those should be a given. But like, I've been around new situations where you could immediately tell, I don't know, like, do we have our act together here? I'm not sure. And I don't think that's the case at all. So the second thing that I noticed the last few days was all the people that I trust, the Ron Wotuses, the Bruce Bocheys, the Dusty Bakers who were down there, who I saw, who I just said, hey, how's it going? And all of them, without me asking specifically about Tony, were like, this guy's the real deal. He's authentic. He's not faking it. The players like him, but he's serious about the job. And they were all really positive about him. And again, it wasn't like kissing up or sucking up. Or just it felt genuine to me. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But I think the personality part of it has immediately translated where he's got the respect of the room. Now, that will be tested big time when stuff goes wrong, when there's adversity, when make tough decisions, especially with veterans. I think one of the flashpoints of any time a college coach comes to the pro level is when you have to tell a pro who's been doing it for a long time and you haven't been there, hey, you lost this job, or you're not doing this, or you're not good enough. Is the answer, okay, I respect your opinion, or is the answer, what do you know? And does that start to infect everybody? I don't anticipate that happening at all. I think a big thing, Tom, is Buster is fully behind Tony, and it's going to be hard for even the most accomplished, highly paid players on this team or any team. If Buster's standing behind this guy,
Yeah.
my guy, he's in charge. I don't know where you turn in terms of like if you get disenfranchised or feel like you're not being treated fairly. That was a rambling answer to say I think
Yeah.
the early returns are good about that exact issue that you're talking about. The personality should translate. I think he's going to do a really good job.
Yeah, I would say leadership number one. Number two, if I could give any new manager, coach advice, I would say this: share the credit, wear the blame. That that to me is one of the bigger things for a coach, is to not care where the credit comes from and share it as much as possible with your coaches, with your players, front office, whatever. And then when things go wrong, whether it's your fault or not, you wear it. That buys you so much credibility in a clubhouse, in a locker room, when players know that this guy is there for us. He's with us. Because the players know. You sit in that locker room, Dave, and you're like, I screwed that up. He didn't screw that up, yet he's wearing it for me, and he's got to deal with the consequences of it. That a lot of goodwill is created by doing that. And if you can be a manager and do those things, boy, you get guys that'll go out there and play for you 162 a year.
Yeah, totally agree. And probably the first time I talked to Tony the whole offseason it was just a phone conversation, but one of the first things he said was, a lot of attention is going to be paid to me this year just because of the newness of it and what a big story it is. And he said, I think that's good. He said, and it was the exact same point. Maybe not exactly taking blame, although I think he's going to be willing to do that. But I think his point was like, the more all the focus is on me from the outside stuff, the more the players can just focus on what's important for them. And so if it's just a distraction of attention and Tony becomes a big sort of talking point of the year, as long as it's not him trying to take credit, which I don't think he's going to be doing, as long as it's just more like, hey, all the questions and all the interview requests and everything are coming into the Giants with this guy, I think the players are going to appreciate that, where maybe a little less burden of that stuff on them and a little more on him.
Biggest concern going into this year?
I would say the biggest concern for me is pitching depth, starting pitching depth specifically. Look, the bullpen is definitely a question for sure.
Yeah.
But I do have faith. I think there is a tendency that if you have enough options, you can figure out a bull. Now, sometimes that's wrong, and sometimes a bullpen can torpedo a really good season. But I still believe that it's the easiest place to adjust on the fly and try new stuff, and you do get it. And there are lots of examples, even from just the last couple of years, of that happening with the Giants, where Doval isn't doing well. So here comes Walker, and Taylor Rogers is doing great, or Tyler Rogers is doing great. One of the two, you put them in the ninth inning. That doesn't go well. You can mix and match and figure that stuff out, I think, as it goes along. The starting pitching thing's a lot harder to work around. And I would say, especially early, where guys aren't fully built up, the schedule's brutal, man. The first 6 weeks.
Yeah, it is.
God, it's so front loaded. And, you do get some extra off days. I think the Giants have 6 off days before the end of April. That helps. That helps you lean more into your core guys that you know what you're getting from. Look, every starter that's in the opening day rotation pitched really well in the spring, looked really good, looked strong, looked healthy. But a lot of those kind of backup options, depth options, didn't have that kind of spring. And that's where I think, if somebody goes down, it's going to be immediate scramble mode, and that's not a fun place to be. So that's my number one concern. I think if they stay healthy relatively with the starters, upside on this team is pretty good.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And to your point, what Dave's talking about is Yankees, Padres, Mets, Phillies, Orioles, Reds, get a little breather with the Nationals, maybe, Dodgers. And then it's just like I mean, if you can just survive that early on, give yourself, around 500, I think you'll be good to go. It's interesting, Dave, because last year I feel like I said I feel like we're in the upside down because last year was like, oh, look at all the pitching depth. Look at all the young pitching depth this team has. I wonder how the offense is going to be. Now it's the pitching depth. The offense, I think this is a really, really good lineup. I looked at Arizona's lineup, I looked at the Padres lineup, and while they may have like a better three-man middle of the order, like Machado, Tatis, and Merrill, probably better than what the Giants have to offer. Corbin Carroll, Perdomo, Marte, probably better than what the Giants have to offer, maybe. But the fact that they can get Devers, Adames, Chapman, Jung-Hoo Lee, Arise now that they got in the lineup, Ramos, this is as long as the lineup has been in a long time, and I think the offense is going to comport itself well this year. Like, that's not a worry of mine. Like, the offense to me it should be fine. To me, I'm with you. This is about the pitching.
Yeah, and they have depth options too on the offensive side. If stuff goes wrong on offense, I mean, if you get an injury to somebody, Casey Schmidt is there. The Giants are very confident in his ability to help. You got some outfield depth with guys who aren't going to make this team, and we don't know who. You and I are talking here a couple days before they have to set the roster, so we're not totally sure. But they had a bunch of guys have good springs and look like capable athletes who can play out there. Like, that makes you feel really good because you will have attrition as the season goes on. You will. On the position player side, I feel Bryce Eldridge didn't make the team. You know, if the Giants were not this deep, they would have probably had to force the issue with him and just get him in there and let's start the learning process at the big league level and just see where it takes us. They have the ability to not do that and let him get a few more reps. What does he have? 60 games at AAA. So this, that to me is a good sign of organizational health. And it is amazing. Just to step back a little, your big picture point is so true. Like, from 18 months ago, it feels like the roster is just almost entirely flipped.
I know.
And really, you and I were probably talking about it last year. Like, how do you get 8, 9 starters? Like, of that group that we were talking about, there are about 3 left. It's just incredible how on the pitching side you need to just generate more volume. And I would say, even like bigger picture Giants, all the young talent that we saw in spring training, and there was a lot of it. Part of the reason why the Giants went 19-9 in the Cactus League, which means absolutely nothing other than, to me, when the games flipped and, you had the line change in the 5th or 6th innings, the Giants were better than the other teams. Yeah. And a lot of that is the position players in the minor leagues are really good. The Giants have a lot of talented players in the minor leagues, but they don't have a ton of pitching depth there either. So it's big league pitching, it's pitching depth all the way through the organization. That has to be a priority now going forward to beef that up.
Well, I mean, the last 3 years, if people that follow baseball didn't know this, you learn it more every single year. Their prospects, until proven otherwise, and especially pitching prospects. Yeah. I mean, pitching prospects, who the hell knows? Now, I don't know what's going to happen to Kyle Harrison, but he was like the number 2 prospect in baseball, not the Giants, in baseball a number of years ago. Now, I fully expect him to win a Cy Young because he's with the Brewers now. And you just go to the Brewers, all of a sudden you're good. I mean, I don't know what the Brewers do. They wave that fairy like dust over you. Like, hey, you're fantastic now. You're a Brewer. Like, who would have thought? But no, like I even last year going into the season, Dave, I was like, okay, look at the back end of the bullpen. They're good. They got Duvall. They got Walker, Rodriguez, Duvall flamed out. Yeah. Walker was like, and Rodriguez I wouldn't have guessed he would have become the guy. Now he gets hurt, and Walker's going to have to take over. But you know what? I know this is kind of off subject a little bit, but it makes you appreciate the core 4 even more. Like, from the Giants, like, that doesn't happen where you get 4 guys who pitch that well, that consistently, and stay together for that length of time. Like it almost unheard of. And
Yeah.
I always go back to that day and go, wow, that was something. That was something.
It was, and it's you could argue other than Buster, it's the number one key for all those championship runs. And
Mhm.
to me, if I were building a team, what would the lesson of that be? There's no hard and fast rules in this. There's different ways to build great teams. You can do it in different ways. But on the pitching side, I would really be like, maybe you have to draft and develop your ace, maybe you have to get a
Yeah.
little lucky with that. The Tigers certainly didn't think they had an ace in Tarek Skubal when he was a 10th round draft pick or whatever he was.
Yeah.
Like, he turned into one. So maybe you got to get a little lucky on that front. Although, picking the right guys in the draft helped the Giants over the years. But I would lean hard into veteran pitching. And I would, just the stability of those four guys that you're talking about, it was so valuable. And it wasn't that they were always perfect, but you just kind of knew year to year, all right, we got our core guys in the pen. And that's hard to do with the younger guys. I mean, the example from last year is absolutely perfect. Doval, Yankees. Tyler Rogers pitching for the Blue Jays. Rodriguez hurt, out for the year. Birdsong hurt, out for the year. Kyle Harrison on his second different team after leaving the Giants. So you got Landon Roop and Ryan Walker left. That group of sort of like homegrown bullpen and starters. You've got two guys out of 7 or 8 left who are going to, at least at the start of the year, help this team. Just a crazy amount of attrition. Whereas I think, if you sort of lean into the track record side of things, and that's why it's expensive to do. But dedicating some cash to finding pitchers who have a track record of staying healthier and performance it's a pretty good security blanket.
So the outfield defense should be much better with Harrison.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to cover so much ground, and he's much better suited to center than anybody they had. I wanted to ask you, I want to get to him, but I want to ask you about Ramos, because maybe I caught the wrong games early on, but I thought Ramos was like pretty good, especially in center when he was like, they first put him out there. I was like, this guy's actually pretty decent. Like, he's not bad. And then I watched him last year and left. I was like, God, he's not good. Like, I don't know what happens. Like, I don't know if you can lose your confidence in the outfield. Like, you don't trust your reads and you get caught in between. Like, I don't know, but I think he'll be better this year. But what do you think happened last year? Unless maybe he was never as good as I thought he was. But I was like shocked at its defense in left field last year.
I do think there's something to the right field, center field versus left. I think there's something to it. And I think that it isn't quite as simple as everybody you assume. And look, these guys are great. Elliot Ramos is an elite athlete, right? I mean, the guy's a stud. You assume, hey, a guy like that, right, left, who cares? And it is different. And whether he wasn't getting enough help, coaching, technique, confidence building, or he just couldn't make that transition, it was ugly last year. And I'm with you. I thought his right field looks a couple of years ago were excellent. He was making great throws. Now you're watching throws from left where Ramos, he threw the one straight into the ground last year that everybody replayed over and over again, which was sort of like, the Benny Hill, highlight of the year. But like, even just throw that out. He made one the other day in a Cactus League game that was like, oh man, that didn't look right. And from right field, it's just for a right-handed thrower, it's almost like a more natural get your body aligned. And he has struggled with the mechanics of playing out there. This is just me. And Elliot doesn't want this. He wants to be an all-around player. But if Bryce Eldridge is not on this team and he's not going to be at the start of the year, if you're giving him an extra month or however long it takes, I wonder if they're going to contemplate, we saw these guys we know Drew Gilbert can play the outfield. This guy, Jared Oliva, is an excellent defensive outfielder. The guy, Will Brennan, they got from the Guardians, who got hurt and is healthy again. Excellent defensive outfielder. Like, I wonder if you might not lean in a little bit to Ramos as the DH early on and try to throw your best group out there and see what happens. Maybe I'm totally off base with that, but I'd be tempted to do that early. I wouldn't want to. Elliott's still young enough and important enough to where if you really thought that was just going to kill his confidence and kill his sort of verve and zest for giving, like I wouldn't want to do that. But if Elliott was willing to do it, I would really consider, because I think it's a huge key for the Giants this year. Got to be way better out there. Bader's a big step in that direction, but here we go, Bader's hurting, and Bader's track record is a lot of injuries. And I love him as a player, but here we are about to start the season, and the hamstring is no guarantee for being in there on opening night. And, that makes me a little worried.
Does the offense I think the offense can be fine, but I think it goes kind of the way Devers goes. Like I've talked about Jung-Hoo Lee, talked about Adames, Chapman, all those guys. Like I feel like I'm kind of burying the lead. Like they got one of the best offensive players in the game. Like they went out now. I know there are those that are like, well, it's a long term. I don't care about the length of the contract. I don't care about 4 years from now. I care about now. This guy can rake, and putting him in. This is a guy they haven't had in a long. You may be able to say they haven't had this type of guy since Barry. Is he Barry? Of course not. But I'm talking a middle of the order guy that you just stick in there against lefties, righties, and go do your thing. That's the type of guy they have. And if he has the type of year I think he believes he can have, and people believe he can have, boy, it's gonna be interesting to see what this offense does, because this guy is legit blue chipper.
Legit. But blue chipper is a good way to put it. Like you have a handful of guys in every sport who are kind of at a different level, and that's what he's been in his career so far. They need that version of him. And last year they got it for stretches. They didn't get it for the whole time. But last year was such a tumultuous year from him. I think I'm with you. Like sometimes we overanalyze this stuff. How much can we get out of this guy or this guy? A lot of it is, can your high level talent perform? And Devers is the highest level talent they have on the offensive side. If he has a monster year, the Giants are going to the playoffs. I feel 99% sure of that. Like if Devers has his superstar kind of year, 35 home runs, 100 RBIs, 400 on base average, hitting a bunch of doubles, fearsome in the middle of the order, Giants are going to the playoffs.
So I don't know if you were doing the games. I watched like a couple innings maybe of spring training until I said, "The fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
there's got to be something else on." But I did notice the automatic ball strike. I'm like, well, how much is that going to affect Patrick Bailey, and how much is that going to take away his superpower or whatever, framing pitches? I watched 2 innings, and I saw one frame the pitch, automatic ball strike, barely caught the strike zone, and it was a strike 3. So, which I think ultimately you're going to use your automatic ball strike calls on strike 2s. And I was like, well, maybe that is something that the Giants will have with Bailey that other teams won't have. His knowledge of the strike zone, he'll be able to know what a strike is and what isn't a strike, and maybe get those calls more so than other catchers. What do you think about that? I don't know if maybe I'm reading too much into it, but this guy's so good. I'm like, maybe this is going to be his advantage now.
You and I could. I promise we won't spend a long time. Maybe later in the season we will, but we could talk about this a lot. There are a lot of layers to this thing, and it's to me, it's one of the number one questions about the early part of the season is, how's this system going to work? How are teams going to use it? Are teams going to use it differently? How are the Giants going to use it?
Yeah. After
watching spring training, like you, if I were the Giants, I would be very tempted to tell everybody else on the team, don't you even think about it. Maybe at the end of a game, if we still have a challenge or two and it's the 8th or 9th inning in a big spot, I think I would be really tempted to just let Patrick Bailey be our team challenger. And he, to me, and I think scouts in watching the Cactus League and watching in Florida would agree, like, who was the absolute best in spring training at being right and knowing what was missed by the umpire? It was Patrick Bailey. And it's funny because this system came into place, and everybody last year, you remember, is this going to take away Patrick's value?
Yep.
The framing is so much of all the war and all the advanced metrics and all that. Is this going to make him like a less valuable player? It's possible that it's going to make him a more valuable player. It is possible.
Crazy.
Like because you have infinity of these things. Like each team gets 2 challenges, but if you're right, you don't lose it. So in theory, now for the game, I kind of hope it doesn't play out this way. But in theory, if the umpire, while the Giants are pitching, misses, let's say, the Giants throw 150 pitches a game and an umpire gets 95% of them right. There still might be like 7 or 8 pitches in a game where if Bailey is as good as he looked in spring training, what if he gets all of those to go in your favor? Like, that is a big deal. Big deal. So, I am fascinated to see what the Giants prioritize and how it plays out. But just watching him do it, if I were in charge, I'd be telling everybody else, we have a secret weapon here. Let's not mess this up with some dumb, I think, oh, that was low. My feelings are hurt, and then you lose.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't do it. And the pitchers, to me, would be off limits. Pitchers cannot challenge. I would not let them challenge.
I can't wait to hear if they're calling the game. Bailey 16 for 16 tonight.
It's possible. I hope it doesn't happen that way, because I have to admit, the whole pitch of this system was unobtrusive. You won't think about it. You won't even notice. It happens so fast. And now that we have the microphone on the ump, the guy does this, the ump turns around, he looks at the camera or press box. The Giants are challenging the call of a ball. Then the graphic comes up on the video board, and there's like a little moment of ooh, it's kind of fun, but it took a lot longer for each one than I thought. And if you times that by 15 a game, I think I'll be tired of it real soon.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of a different discussion about whether this is really good for the game or not. But just Giants specific, what if they walked into with this system an even bigger advantage than they already have?
Yeah.
It's actually possible.
Well, there's going to be unintended consequences. There always,
sure.
there always are.
Always.
And
you and I have
this is the greatest thing.
The last few years railing against the unintended consequences of replay review in every sport, and taking away the fun of last game, game-winning shots or touchdowns or whatever, and taking away the flow of games. And there's been so many unintended consequences, and there could be again with this system.
Yeah, and I'll stick by what I always say, Dave. I just want the Don Denkinger play to not happen. Give me the obvious. I don't need everything to. There are those that want everything to be right. I don't need everything to be right. I want the game to flow. I want to have an entertainment value that goes along with it. And I feel like we get too caught up into, well, if we're going to do this, then we should do this, and then we should do this. And if we're going to get everything right, let's do this. I don't need everything right. Just fix the egregious stuff that we all look at and go, oh my God, Jim Joyce, Galarraga should have had a perfect game. That would have been easy. Look at it, boom, we're done. We're moving on. 30 seconds, we're good. So I don't know that this is going to affect the game like that. I don't know that it's not going to affect the game like that. So we will see. But it'll be
if for every team, I guarantee you a lot of these last few days leading into opening day are going to be spent with the GM, the president, the manager, the pitching coach, the catchers, all talking about what's our strategy as a team, how we're going to manage this and see. And it is going to take some time to see how it plays out, good and bad.
Now, it'll be interesting because, like I said, I wouldn't use it unless it's 2 strikes, unless it's obvious. Do you wait till later in the game? Do you do it early? I did. So it'll be fun. Hopefully, it doesn't wear off 2 months into the season. We're like, man, this sucks. Can we do something else? I don't want to do this anymore.
I know. And I will say this: in spring training, the moment of truth when they put that thing up on the video board, the fans do go, whoa, like there is like there is a game show element almost of like, so I don't know. I think it's possible that in stadium, and maybe if you're at home watching on TV, radio might be a little more challenging for us. I don't know if I'll go into full Bob Barker mode when these things are coming up. But like there's a little suspense that gets built in. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe. I don't know.
It's a ball. Oh, dang it.
How many times can you lean into that? Probably not that many.
Well, I expect you're going to find out and see.
Yeah. Wednesday. We'll find out.
Oh, hey, have a great, what season is this for you?
It's I'm telling everybody. Now it's kind of fudged because my first season was like 15 games, but so I'm going to do this 2 years in a row. It's my Willie Mays season, my 24th season.
Wow.
If you count the first year where I did all the fill-in stuff, it's my 23rd full season, but I'm going with it's my Willie Mays season.
Wow. That's just so awesome. That is awesome. And I know I've said it over.
Back then I was 26 years old, and to imagine that like almost half my life now has been spent with this team and these fans and all in that ballpark is a pretty cool thing.
Well, part of the, as far as I'm concerned, and look, I watch a lot of sports and a lot of baseball, part of the best broadcasting team in the sport. It's been awesome listening. I'm so glad that you've stuck around. I mean, I know you've done college football, college basketball. We didn't even have time to get into that. I was going to do bonus March Madness, but I know you got stuff to do to get ready for the game.
Fun. Yeah, the March Madness has been fun. You just got to, if you have Vitello on, just tell him that. We got a new guy around here. He needs to know that, hey, these guys over here, I need to take care of these broadcasters. So we need to kind of emphasize, hey, you want to get in good graces, treat those guys well. Like
treat them well. You'll be good to go. Dave, have a great call Wednesday. Have a great season, and look forward to talking to you occasionally throughout the course of the season. It's always a pleasure. I always have a good time with you. Have a great call Wednesday, my friend.
I don't want to have to go full Marty Brennaman like he told Ken Griffey Jr. I was here before you, and I'm going to be here after you. I don't want to have to do that. It's one of my all-time favorite stories. Ken Griffey Jr.
It is a great line.
It took some guts to do that.
Have a good one, Dave.
I'll talk to you soon, Tom.
All right, sounds good, Dave. Dave's one of the all-time good guys. One of the all-time good guys, and always fun talking to him. 24 years Dave's been around. That is just wow. That it doesn't seem like it's been. I didn't ask Dave. You know what? I'll find out. I will text him and see. I would imagine he is. I would imagine Dave's doing the Masters. Steve's asking. Usually does the Masters on the radio. Yeah, I would think so. Like Dave's done so much, college basketball, college football. It's awesome that he's been. Yeah, we are old, no doubt about it. So, but he's been here with John, Kipe, and Kruk the whole time. I mean, hell, I've been around long enough. Like Ted Robinson was doing the game. Papa, shout out to Papa. Hope you're doing well. He was doing games. God, who else was it that I'm missing? I know I'm missing a couple guys that are doing games, but it just, I mean, it doesn't matter. You turn on the radio, you turn on the TV, it's like the same quality. It's absolutely incredible. And being up there with those guys, every once in a while, I go up there. I haven't in a couple of years. Go up there and sit in the booth when they're doing the games. You can tell how much they enjoy being around one another and talking baseball. And so Wednesday, Netflix. Hope you have Netflix. You can watch the Yankees and the Giants. And then off Thursday, back at it Friday, and we will be at Fieldwork Friday. We're going to be at Phil Work on Friday from noon to 1. Hank was before me. I don't think Hank was doing games when I was there. That was way before I showed up. When I showed up, it was Krug, Kipe. I think John may have just signed with the Giants, and Dave wasn't even there yet. Dave wasn't there yet. He came in later, but Dave. I mean, that group of 4 right there, you don't get any better. You do not get any better than those guys, and all good guys too. All really good guys. My buddy got a kick out of being in Anaheim. We were down in Anaheim. He's a huge Angel fan. So we're both Angel fans, and I wanted to take him to an Angel game. And I did my shows from down there when the Angels were hosting the Giants, and did the show from the broadcast booth. And after I did my show, they would come on and do the broadcast, and me and my buddy would sit up there and watch the game for maybe an inning or so, and then go sit in our seats, grab a beer, whatever. And he got a kick out of John calling the game as on the radio. And I think John had shorts, like mid-thigh shorts, and a Tommy Bahama shirt that had a massive tiger on the back of it. and my buddy got a kick out of that. He goes, "He's calling the game like that?" I go, "Yeah, I would too. It's radio. No one can see you. No one can see you. I wear shorts when I'm doing the games. People can see me up in the broadcast booth, so you wear a collared shirt or a hoodie or something like that. But you're on radio, and no one looking at you. See my face? That's why I'm on radio." So, and the last question was field work at Oracle. Yes, we're going to be at China Basin. Correct. Noon to 1. So come on by. There you go. We'll give out some tickets. I'm going to have some Warrior tickets because they're my tickets, so I know I can get those. I'm going to see if we can get some Giants tickets too to give away. But show up, do a show, talk a little baseball, and it should be a great day. I think it's going to be close to damn 70 out there. And then I'll hang out, probably watch a little of the Giants game, and then get a Warrior game later on that night. So it'll be a full day for me. Full day of show and Warriors whiz. The Wizards. That'll be my trivia question. If you want tickets to go to a game, name the Wizards starting lineup. It won't be now because I've told you, but no one would win tickets. I can't do it. I had no idea who the Wizards starting lineup is. And the Warriors just played them not that long ago. I have no idea who the Wizards starting lineup is. So, but we'll give away some tickets. We'll have a good time. And so we're gonna do. I want to do some more kind of remotes at field work. Just get out, hang out. Weather's going to be good. Maybe during the see what the Warriors do for the playoffs, NBA playoffs, stuff like that. We'll get out and we'll hang out. Friday will be our second time we did a field work remote with Ray Ratto. Speaking of Ray Ratto, I need to get Ray over here. I need to get Ray in the backyard. Been a while since I've talked to Ray. We'll get Ray over here. So Friday, field work, 12 to 1. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to Susan Slusser, get her take on the Giants and see what she thinks. I'm usually a little more optimistic than most, but I think 85, maybe if the offense gets going, maybe upper 80s, pitching collapses a little bit, lower 80s somewhere, let's call it. But there's no reason they can't compete with the Diamondbacks and the Padres for second. They're not. Again, if I'm in that clubhouse, I'm not saying let's get second. You want to win the division. It's the Dodgers. Dodgers can lose 5 pitchers, they'll get 5 more and they'll win. It's amazing. I mean, it when healthy, the greatest pitching staff I've seen. 1 through 5 in quite some time if they're healthy. Snell's not even healthy, and they're They're going to be fine. I don't even know what they have this year. They got Otani, Yamamoto, Suzaki, Glasnow, Robleski, and that's with Snell. Snell probably pitched like 4 games, and then the playoffs. They'll be like, "That's fine. You what do you want? 8? I mean, can you give us 8 games for like $30 million a year? Yeah, okay, we're good with that. We're totally fine with that." No, you don't want sacked. You don't want Kings tickets. You don't want Kings tickets. Kings are. There's a whole bunch of teams this year that are in the NBA. I didn't even know this. I just looked this. I was like scrolling through Twitter, I guess, and I just found out the Pacers and Wizards have both lost 16 games in a row. 2 16-game losing streaks in the NBA. Slip right by me. Like, I mean, look, why would I pay attention to either of those teams? I wouldn't, obviously, and I didn't, obviously. 16-game losing streaks. It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. It's like they're in a competition with one another. Do they play each other? I should look to see if they play each other. That'd be an incredible game to watch. 2 games. Has two teams ever played each other that were on 16-game losing streaks? Don't know. So anyway, and we'll get into the March Madness. We'll look at some of the matchups. It's kind of it was a fun weekend. I mean, it's Santa Clara, brutal. I had Santa Clara. Santa Clara plus 3.5. No. That was not a fun beat. Yeah, the Kings did lose 15 in a row. They did lose 15 in a row, so that's been good times. Yeah, I don't pay attention to the tanking teams. I really don't care. Like I don't have to watch them. Although I'm gonna have to watch them. I'm gonna have to watch 2 of them this week. I did look. Nets and the Wizards. So anyway. All right. Coming up, Susan Slusser is going to join us. We'll get her thoughts on the San Francisco Gigantes as the season gets ready to get going. Wednesday, like 2 days away. 2 days away from the MLB season starting. So up next, we talk to Susan Slusser of the San Francisco Chronicle right here on the Tom Tolbert Show. What is shaking, everybody? I'll be damned. It's baseball season again. They just keep on churning, don't they? Yeah, football, basketball, March Madness, and it's baseball. It's like, oh my gosh, it's here again. And I'm glad it's here again because I'm ready for some baseball. And it's been far too long since I've talked to one of my favorites at the San Francisco Chronicle. She covers the Giants as well as anybody, Susan Slusser. Susan, hey, Ben.
I've been very well, Tom. I've been a little worried about you. I'm glad you're back. Baseball season makes everything better. Opening day makes everything better, in my opinion.
It really does. It's like, because it's such a companion sport. It's with you every single day. And even if you're not, like you are, completely focused on the team and the season, it's there. It's in the background. You're watching. You're kind of not watching. You're barbecuing. You're listening. It's just, I love baseball, and it signifies spring and summer and better weather and vacations and no school, and just there's so much that surrounds baseball that just brings a smile to my face.
Yeah, and this year it's the Yankees. It's at home. The Giants almost never open at home, and it's on Netflix, and it's the very first game of the season. Like, this is a huge deal. Like, fantastic.
It's the only game, right?
It's the only game. Yep. Netflix, so that's kind of wild. Netflix apparently is flooding the whole cove full of Netflix branded kayaks. So I don't know what that's going to be about, but that's some good marketing because if I don't know if you know this, Rafael Devers absolutely demolishes the Yankees. He's got the most home runs of any active player against the Yankees. So there could be some balls in the cove. They could get some good shots of that.
I wouldn't mind seeing a few of those. Well, let's the off season to me, there's a lot of stuff to get into. The big story was the Vitello thing. Is it Vitello or Vitello?
Vitello.
Okay. Where he was like playing junior sleuth trying to figure out who leaked information when it's like, and people are like, bro, just let it go. You're the manager of the Giants now. Don't worry about Tennessee anymore. I thought it was kind of a fun story. Like, it was kind of interesting, like why he cared so much. I didn't think it really amounted to a whole lot and told me a whole lot about him. What about you?
Well, it was interesting. I will say, just in general, the first couple of weeks, there was a lot of Tennessee talk, a lot of SEC talk. And, we get that. Like, he's acclimating. He's still learning his team. He's learning Major League Baseball. And that's an ongoing process. That's still going on. But the last few weeks, it's been pretty much all Giants. Yeah. Thank goodness. But that, when he sat down and sort of started talking about how upset he was about an erroneous report, when he was still deciding whether to come to the Giants or not. The report was that he had accepted it already or was leaving for sure, kind of thing. And it wasn't the case. It was one outlet sort of hinted at it. And then I think some Knoxville outlets went a little nuts with it and assumed that it happened. But he really had not. He was still talking to Tennessee at that point about, what they were, Anyway, I can understand why he was upset. My main thing with the whole thing, and it was unusual. You seldom hear 4 months after the fact a big league manager talking about his old place.
Yeah,
that's fine. But we in the media, and you've been on both sides of this, Tom. We want people to be themselves. We want people to be honest. We certainly like people to be colorful, and then when they do it, we often rip them for it, which I don't understand. I want people to say what's on their mind. I had no problem at all. A lot of people were texting me because I happened to be sitting next to him. And when he sat down and he said essentially, like, when did you think I was coming to San Francisco? And I answered, and people were like, was he mad at you? He was not mad at me. Like, please. I did not have any sort of reports that he was coming like that day that he was on his way. But he is very honest. That's one thing in the 6 weeks of spring training, I could say. Buster had talked about how genuine and authentic Tony Vitello is. It's one of the reasons he was such a great college recruiter, like one of the all-time great college recruiters in any sport. But he absolutely is genuine and authentic. He's not polished like some longtime big league managers are, or guys who are like high profile players and then managers tend to come in and they know the right things to say. They will give you sort of what you need without giving you like anything really important, without saying a whole lot. You see it in the NBA too. And they know how to handle. If you ask a question that they don't really want to answer, they're very good at turning it around a little bit and answering it the question they want to answer. Tony Vitello doesn't do that. He says what he thinks. He rambles a little bit. I'm fine with that too. Sometimes the rambling is very interesting. So I like it. It's unvarnished. I hope he doesn't turn into a super polished big league manager too fast. He will eventually. Yes, they all do.
Susan, I could sit here and you could give me a random press conference from just about any sport and I could answer them for you. I mean, I've heard so much of it. It's just my favorite is the GM from any given sport. Well, look, we're going to listen to anything. We're always trying to make our team better. So if we can make our team better, we'll think about doing it. All right, moving on. Like and they're not wrong. It's just, okay, I've heard that before. Yep. Here's what I wonder about Vitello. Because everybody was saying, is the game going to move too fast for him? There's so many games in a big league schedule. And I told people, I go, look, that to me has very little to do with his success, because from a basketball standpoint, guys that go from college to pro, they know the game. They know the X's and O's. They can handle just about anything. Can they handle men? Can they lead men? And that ultimately is going to come down. That will decide his fate one way. Can he handle those guys after a tough loss? If he makes a mistake, can he stand up in front of them and say, look, this is my rationale. This is what I was thinking. Here's what we're going to do. Like, that's what you have to be. These guys know their stuff. And if they don't know their stuff perfectly, they got a bunch of coaches who know their stuff. Like, they're going to be fine there. Can he lead men? I don't know if you can get a sense of that, Susan, in the time you spent with him. That's usually something we'll find out. But that is 90% of it. Do these guys buy what you're selling? Can you lead them?
Well, that was one of the selling points, I think, when the Giants hired Tony Vitello, was he's a great leader. He's a great communicator. He inspires people. Now, I will say, when you're such a great recruiter, and these are guys you've brought in yourself, like that's a little bit of a self-selected data point. Like these are guys that you chose yourself. They came because of you. Of course, they're going to listen to you. A big league manager does not have that luxury. He is not picking the team. He is not developing the players himself. So, and they're not 18, 19, 20. These are grown men, some of them in their 30s. From what I saw during the spring, everything was positive. The players really seemed to respond to him. We don't care about spring training records, but it was very good. Mm-hmm. The thing to me was they played well, especially the regulars. They seemed prepared. The defense is better. The lineup is better. They were very aggressive, especially on the bases. The outfield defense, which was so terrible last year, was so much better and aggressive, which you want to see. So I think he does seem to be making a difference. And the coaching staff, look, they got Ron Washington, who's one of the greatest coaches and a former manager of all time. He's inspiring as well. I don't think there's no shortage of people to lead, but Vitello's calling the shots.
Shows you how bad the Angels are. Ron couldn't even fix them. Anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again, because we'll get another season, Susan, where you have to lie to me and say, Tom, I think the Angels are going to be better than you think they are this year. No, they're not. Moving on. Okay, let's talk about where the Giants are. Because I remember, and this isn't a ding on Farhan, because I liked Farhan. I liked the conversations. And I genuinely think he was much better than people give him credit for. But I did get the feeling at some point, like, you're the Giants. You're not the better version of the Tampa Bay Rays. You don't need to find a better 37th guy or a better 38th guy or a better 39th. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is the Giants. Like, I remember in 2000, Susan, when I was like, oh, they own all that land behind the ballpark too. And when they pay the ballpark off, they're going to have tons of money and they can just spend and spend. Like, I thought they could be the Dodgers. Maybe not the Dodgers or the Yankees, but close to it. I wonder if Buster, reading between the lines, I feel like Buster feels like that. Like, we're the freaking Giants, okay? We're going to go out there and sign people. We're going to trade for people. This isn't going to be like, okay, let's try to – I don't even know if I'm making any sense now, but I feel like you guys Giants should be one of the top 5 or 6 spending teams. They should be one of the Giants. They have the money to do this. I'm assuming you think Buster feels the same way?
Well, I couldn't speak for Buster, but I certainly feel like that. They do have the resources to spend more. Buster's not only their top baseball executive, he's in ownership. He's been pretty clear that when he goes to the owners with an ask, they back him up. They're willing to do it. So maybe he needs to ask a little bit more. I don't know. But they did offer Ohtani, for instance, what the Dodgers offered. They were willing to go. Now, I would argue any team who wanted Ohtani would have been well within their rights to offer him $1 billion. He's worth that. He's going to make them more than that, which is crazy. But they could have offered more. Yeah. So who knows if he would have taken it. Maybe it was obvious that he was going to take the Dodgers deal no matter what. But the Giants were right in there, and they said that with all the other guys that they missed out on. Yeah, we'd offered that much too. And they did. They offered Judge the same amount. Speaking of people that we will see Wednesday, always fun. Always a fun little subplot there. But yeah, I feel like they have the resources. Nobody has the resources the Dodgers do right now. Yeah. Partly because of Ohtani. They've now got all the Japan money and all the sponsorships. That's what I mean. You could easily offer him $1 billion and you'd probably still be getting a bargain. Insane. Yeah. But after that, the Dodgers, the Giants should be right there with anybody else.
No doubt about it. God, if the Angels could only find somebody like an Ohtani guy, that'd be amazing to be able to watch.
Like, if you could pair him with the best player in baseball, Mike Trout, you feel like you would have some nice playoff runs there.
Even ownership couldn't screw that up. It'd be impossible to screw that up.
Oh, Angels.
Oh, I won't even say poor. They do it to themselves. All right.
Yeah.
So last year, I feel like I'm living in the upside down, because last year we were saying, oh, look at all this pitching the Giants have, all this young pitching. Hitting, Not so sure what's going to happen with the hitting. Right? Maybe they could bring Chapman back, and maybe they could, and then they go get Adames and they get Devers, and now you're like, oh, the hitting's good. Oh, the pitching. Not so sure about the pitching anymore. We didn't even know about the back end of the bull. The back end of the bull. Everything was set last year, Susan. The rotation was set. Back end of the bullpen was set. Now, I feel like offense, fine. Offense is going to be fine. How are you feeling about the pitching?
Well, I think the rotation will be okay, based on what we saw during the spring. And the spring is tough to, but when you're talking about veterans like Adrian Hauser and Tyler Mahle, they both look terrific. So your 1 through 4 look good. Landon Roop was really good last year before he got hurt.
Yeah,
it was line drive, no fault of his own. He looked good. He was a little wobbly this spring. I think he'll be fine. But that next level down, and you always need depth with your starting pitching. There are some question marks. Hayden Birdsong has Tommy John surgery. Yep. He's most talented at those. Whatever weirdness happened with him losing the strike zone aside. Sorry, I've got some angry cats here, but
no worries.
Bear with me. That unusually was Lola. Usually it's sugar causing problems, and that was Lola.
Really? So, they're not fans of each other?
They're fans of each other, but they're fans, even more fans of interrupting any type of show of any kind. So
I'm all for that. I'm all for animal interruption.
They like their airtime. I think that's what I'm saying. So apologies in advance. Anyway, with the depth of starting pitching, I do think there's a question mark. Trevor McDonald started off the spring looking great and kind of faded toward the end. Carson Seymour looked really probably the best in terms of results during the spring. His track record has not been quite as good as some of the other guys. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure they have enough depth. Somebody, I think they hope, will step up at Sacramento and be kind of on a hot streak if and when they have a need. Here's hoping, I guess. The bullpen was a mystery all spring. It's still a little bit of a mystery, but I will say at the back end, Ryan Walker looked very good all spring. And moreover, he has really claimed that closer job. Now, Tony Vitello, I think, will probably never even officially name a closer. I think he likes to have the flexibility. But Ryan Walker said coming into the spring, before it even started, he told me, I'm going for the closer role. Like, I want that to be my job. And we have not seen him take that, like, have that kind of take charge. I'm the guy. You know, he's just a kind of easygoing, nice guy from the Pacific Northwest. He came in saying, this is my job. I'm going to take it. And it looks like he took it. So good for him. Eric Miller, slowed by injury. I'm not sure when he can start going back-to-backs, but he's another guy who will pitch in the 9th if needed. Certainly in the 8th. Might be a little bit of a matchups thing here and there. Buto has looked good. Of course, he was gone for the WBC for a while. We know what we're going to get from him. But besides that, I'm not nobody else is necessarily 100% a given for me. And they clearly have some concerns about second lefty picking up Ryan Berkey recently. Yeah. Joey Lucchesi opted out of his deal, clearly has something else lined up, which good for him. He's local. We like Joey a lot. He's local. Yeah. But they have some concerns there. And against the Yankees, you certainly want your guys from the left side to be ready.
I always hated playing that game with Farhan. Like, we're not going to name a closer. I'm like, oh, what is he going to turn to dust if you like name Duvall your guy? I kept Duvall like close. I forget how many games. Can't we just say he's a closer, please? And finally, I think he did after about a month, because I asked him every single, like, what's this game we're playing? Like, you need to just stop with that. Yeah. I was going to ask you about yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, things change, right? And some managers are like that too. Like, I don't want to say something too strong because it could change. I think people understand, like, most baseball fans understand, like, if you say, for instance, a guy has a hamstring strain and he'll be back in 3 weeks, that might change. If you name somebody your 4th starter and he goes a couple of weeks and is terrible and you change, like, it changes. It changes. Your closer can change. Now, that can be a little bit more of a hot button topic, right? It's the sort of things that people like you and I write about and talk about. Yeah. Like the closer, we've got a closer problem. Maybe they're trying to avoid that. Maybe they're trying to avoid pressure. But clearly Ryan Walker is very happy to be named the closer because he announced he wants to be the closer. So if he's the closer, go ahead and tell him he's the closer. Tell us he's the closer. That's what he was working toward, and he did a really nice job doing it.
Well, if you're a player and you got problems with pressure, you're probably not going to be closing very long anyway. So it doesn't matter. You touched on the outfield defense, which was rough last year. Bring in Harrison Bader, and all of a sudden, poof! Look, your outfield defense gets amazing, like much better than it was last year. What are they looking at? They're looking at Jung-Hoo Lee in right, Bader in center, and then they're going to rotate a little bit in left, depending on pitcher. How do you see that playing out?
I think it's Elliot Ramos. I think they have just starting 3 out there now. Bader's got a little bit of a hammy thing. Vitello was optimistic he'd be ready to go Wednesday. Hamstring, I mean, it was tightness. It wasn't an outright strain, but I mean, you never know. So I'm leaving the option open that he might not even open on the roster, but he probably will. Anyway, he's a very good center fielder. The thing to me, like Elliot Ramos was terrible in left last year. He would tell you he was very unhappy with the job he did. He regressed, and he said, like, I was so much better last year. He has dedicated himself to improving. He looks so much better. And what they're trying to do there is much like what they're doing elsewhere. They are being so aggressive. This is a team that is going to go after every fly ball. You think you should, right? But first steps, like really, diving for balls. Like if it's a slightly risky play, I think we're going to see guys going for it, not hanging back, taking the safe play. Jung-Hoo Lee could be a little tentative out there. I don't think that's what we're going to see. That's certainly not what they want. They do not want tentative outfield play, and he can be a great. He made a tremendous catch for Korea in the WBC, like all out. So if that's what we see out there, they're not just going to have a league average defense. It will be better than league average. And my gosh, that's all they needed last year. There's your extra 2 or 3 wins to get into the postseason right there with better outfield play, because that outfield cost them games, no doubt about it last year.
So I thought I was thinking maybe Ramos might be the DH on occasion. Will he play DH? And if he does, I know Devers will probably be DH at least some. Who's in left field if Ramos is a DH? Or if Ramos, let's put it this way, if Ramos isn't in left, who's in left?
The 4th outfielder. They've got some options right now, right? The biggest question mark is probably Luis Matos, because he's out of options. He is not a good defensive player yet. Maybe he will be at some point. But he can hit. He's out of options. To me, I would love to see him go someplace where he can play every day, because he has shown he's not ready to do that at the big league level. He's not a 4th outfielder type. He can't adjust to sitting on the bench for a couple of days and then getting a start and performing well. And the defense isn't good enough really to warrant that. Jared Oliva has been an absolute revelation this spring. Crazy story. He didn't even start on his high school baseball team. He walked on at Arizona. He got a cup of coffee with the Pirates 5 years ago. He hasn't played in the big leagues since then. Last year, he was bouncing all over the minors. He played in the Dominican. He played in Mexico. He's 30, and he can play all 3 outfield spots beautifully, and he can run. He is fun to watch. And given the fact that Vitello and Posey have talked so much about wanting to improve base running and really cause chaos on the bases, this is probably the guy you want. So will he get some starts on left? Sure. Let's say that. If it's him, I'm not guaranteeing that. And what the opening day roster sometimes does not reflect what the actual final decisions are, because they've got a little leeway with those 2 days off. They could leave a starter off the roster to start the season. So we might not really know, but man, I hope Jared Oliver, like, I'm not supposed to root, but I would love to see Jared Oliver on that opening day roster. He deserves it. He's been so fun to watch. I mean, everyone in the place will know he's this kind of guy. Will know he's going, and he'll take second on one pitch, he'll take third on the next pitch, and score on a sacrifice fly. So Gerard Encarnacion is probably, DH first base along with Devers. Devers will get the bulk of time at first. I think, but he'll DH now and then. The DH spot is not, if it had been Bryce Eldridge, who will be up at some point, obviously not starting with the team.
Everybody's freaking out.
Yeah. Now, Bryce Eldridge is probably a DH. He is not as good a first baseman as Devers is. He's not as good a first baseman as Encarnacion is. If they can figure out a roster that has both Encarnacion and Eldridge, which is a little iffy. But I think if Eldridge is not on the roster, the DH spot becomes kind of a place where you can give guys a sort of a semi-day off. They don't have to play in the field. Maybe get somebody else in the field who's a better defensive player, or a matchup that you like. So I've got no problem with that. I like it when teams are a little bit more flexible at DH rather than just having one guy who's clearly just not really a fielder.
Yeah. How's the Rise defense been during spring?
We've barely seen him because he was gone so long with Venezuela.
That's
Talk
true.
about a great story. Yeah, so fun. He can hit. He will be better at second because of
how's his defense? He can hit.
Look, every scout that came in said categorically the Giants will have him at DH about 2 weeks into the season. I don't think that's true. I watched Ron Washington turn Marcus Semien from a mediocre at best shortstop into a very good shortstop, and now he's a Gold Glove second baseman. He works wonders with people. So is Arise going to be a Gold Glove winner? He says he wants to be, and what a great goal. The odds are that that's not going to happen. But if he is even close to league average, if he is not going to hurt them at second base, that's all they need. That's it, because the guy gets on base. And talk about somebody else. It's fun to watch. This is why their lineup, assuming full health, their lineup is sneaky good. I think people might be overlooking.
I agree. Them. No, I totally agree. Now, I'm going to be in the minority on this because I would like to see Jung-Hoo Lee leading off and Arise batting down in the order. Because I remember when Arise was playing for the Padres, I hated seeing him come up with guys on base. Hated seeing him come up because so many times in baseball now, Susan, you get guys on third, one out. You can't count on a strikeout. There's a decent chance you can get somebody to swing and miss it's just baseball the way it is. This guy doesn't strike out. I always hated him up because I knew he was going to put the ball in play and force the defense to do something. Now, I'm sure they're going to lead him off, but I always liked him like in the maybe not traditional fifth or sixth spot, just because when you get guys on base, that dude's going to make you make a play. I mean, he's a wizard with the bat.
Well, I think they want Jung-Hoo Lee to be that kind of player, and they think he can be. And I think if it's kind of reversed, that works too. I like Arise leading off, or maybe him second. I want him at the top. I want him somewhere near the top, just because I want him to get more at bats, because he's going to get on base. I want Chapman and I want Devers hitting somewhere near him because he's going to be on base, and they will drive him in. I like him up top somewhere, and I think that's probably where we'll see him most of the year. But Jung-Hoo Lee had a very nice spring, and seems like kind of a new guy's heart, a very strong way of saying it, but he looks different this year. He looks comfortable. He looks much more comfortable. Spring, throw out all the numbers, but the vibe is very much confident. I belong here. I know it. He had a full off season. He's coming off a good WBC. I think he's going to be fine wherever he hits in the lineup. And man, good problem to have. Do we hit Arise or Jung-Hoo Lee leading off? I mean, Willie Adames can do it. They've had lots of guys who can handle that leadoff spot, and I'm pretty good with all of them. And all of them. I was about to say all of it. All of it. He's not the hitter they are, but man, he'd be fun to watch. Like, talk about somebody who down in the order can create some havoc. That guy, a scout one day told me, like, this Olive, is he going to make the team? He's such a disruptor. He causes chaos. And I was like, oh, I like an agent of chaos. I really
absolutely. Like well, I didn't even know him until you talked about him. He's a Wildcat. We got to root for a Wildcat. He's Arizona Wildcat. So
100%. I always root for Wildcats.
Absolutely. So I looked a little bit. I just kind of glanced over Arizona's roster and the Padres roster. I didn't get to the Rockies roster, so I'm going to I'll leave the Dodgers roster out of it because that's clearly the best roster in the division and in all of baseball when they're healthy. I don't see a reason why this team can't be second in this division and fighting for a wild card. The lineup looks, to me, again, this is just glancing, as good, if not better, than like Arizona's lineup and the Padres lineup. Padres pitching has taken a little bit of a hit the last couple years. Burns isn't getting back for probably at least a few months. Kelly's out for now. Their pitching staff is a little bit wonky. I look at this team and I think if the pitching holds together and the back end of the bullpen holds together, I see no reason why this team can't be, second in this. And look, nobody in that locker room shooting for second, and that's not the way athletes work. But from the outside looking in, I don't see a reason why this team can't get to 85, close to 85, 90 wins, be a wild card, be second in the division. I don't know. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think they're probably an 83 to 85 win team looking at them. I think second is probably there for the taking, but the Padres, man, they always, I mean, they've still got a lot of big names. They've still got a lot of big bats in that lineup. They've still got a lot of great arms. They've got a general manager who is always willing to wheel and deal and figure out something. Yeah. A lot of the sites that just sort of crunch numbers, do the metrics on wins and losses and standings, have the Giants third, and you can you can be in the postseason in third. I think, if you're third in the NL West, you got a shot. So look, go for the division, of course. Maybe something out of your control goes wrong for the Dodgers. Maybe you got a shot. But I think the Giants could potentially finish in second. That's not, I think they're probably a third place team, but a very good third place team that's going to be very much in the hunt for a playoff spot at the end, based on their lineup. But the bullpen is still a little unsettled for my liking, and the pitching depth is still a little bit of a question overall.
Yeah, the bullpen to me, and I want to see Walker put together a good month because like at the end of last year, he got a guy on base. I don't want to say he was nervous, but I was like almost nervous for him. It's like, oh God, here we go. Yeah. Here we go again. The starting rotation, like Ray and Webb are going to do what Ray and Webb do. Hauser and Malley, we'll see. They were really good last year. That to me is a toss up. And then there's question marks. The one thing I don't have a question mark about is their lineup. And that's usually, I don't say that about the Giants. Usually it's the pitching. But the lineup, God, they can't score. I think this team's going to score. I'd be surprised if they don't score. They got a bunch of dudes who can hit the ball over the wall. They got some pretty athletic guys out there that can maybe do some different things. And I think this is going to be an offense that should be fun to watch this summer.
Yeah, they're better tailored to Oracle Park now too. Buster Posey has been pretty clear. He loves contact guys. That's why the Giants have a rise. He doesn't want guys who strike out a lot. Look, in this ballpark, you want somebody who makes contact, and you want some speed. You want aggressiveness on the bases. They have a little bit more of that. And certainly if they keep Oliva, they've got quite a bit more. But they've got guys who can run. And even some of their guys who weren't that fast are actually pretty decent base stealers. I'm going to Chapman's not slow, but he's a good base stealer. Patrick Bailey can steal you a bag. He's a very good base runner. Among with all his other crazy, interesting skills that kind of get lost in how great a defensive player he is. That guy is a really good clutch hitter too. So I think he gets dinged a lot offensively. And if you're just looking at average, sure, whatever. But he does a lot of other things very well with the bat. So I love the way they are kind of tailoring this a little bit to the ballpark. So and then you still got Devers. Devers can hit it out anywhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, before I let you run, I wanted to ask you about Bailey. I actually watched, believe it or not, I watched about 9 minutes of spring training this year, which is 9 minutes more than I usually watch. I just happened to be on. Yeah, I happen to be on. I go, oh, it's baseball. Oh, it's spring training. And then I remembered I don't watch spring training, so I kept going. But I did watch. Well, I don't watch preseason basketball or football either. But anyway, so I wondered how the ASB would work with Bailey. Like, how is that going to take away some of his skill set of framing pitches? And sure enough, it happened twice. And I thought, God, that is like Patrick Bailey's going to have this over other catchers because of the ASB. He's going to know when to challenge. He challenged 2 pitches I saw, and they were right on the corner. Like, you'd have to be almost crazy to challenge that if you didn't know for sure it was a strike. And sure enough, the top of the ball clipped the strike zone. And I thought, you know what? That's going to come in handy. He knows the strike wall so well. And he's so good with he's just so good. But when he challenges stuff, Susan, I'm like, oh, he's going to get some strikes that way where it's going to be really close. Other catchers may be afraid to challenge it. He's going to challenge it and get that strike, especially, and I think both times it was on strike 2. So it ended up being an out for the Giants in that situation. Like, there's going to be some interesting situations on when to use the ASB, but Patrick Bailey, I feel like a guy you can trust to do it right.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it perfectly. You really did. We all thought like, oh gosh, this is going to take away that pitch framing element a little bit. Look, in fact, it's only 2 challenges, maybe not quite as much, but also the strike zone itself has changed with this system. Mm-hmm. They used to kind of call like a box. Now it's a little bit more like almost like an oval, and that has changed. I think that's more of an adjustment for the pitchers. You tell Patrick Bailey where the strike zone is supposed to be. He's going to figure out a way to, make good use of the ABS system, which he is, but also he can still frame some pitches. And last year, it's funny. I was hearing from minor leaguers that they were trying to game that system too. Like, not like instead of framing pitches, sort of pull pitches out of the zone that were strikes to get guys to challenge and then be wrong and lose their challenge. Last year, Patrick was like, I would never do that. That's not the way it should be done. This spring, he was like, I would totally do that. I think we could have an advantage there. So look for that, too. Like the whole ABS system and how it's used and when teams use it. And do you hang on to one for later in the game? And when you've got one left late in the game, how do you use it? Do you use it in a big situation, the 7th, 8th, 9th? Do you wait until they're 2 out? Does it depend on where you are in the lineup?
Yeah.
You know, do you want your big boppers coming up? It's really going to be interesting to see all that. But as much fun as all that's going to be as watching Patrick Bailey maybe trying to game the system every once in a while.
I would say this, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. I wouldn't use it unless there's 2 strikes, and I'd like to use it if there's 2 outs. I may, depending on who's up, who's coming up, and the situation, I may be willing to say, you know what, if we can get just 1 out, let's get 1 out, put it in the bank and go from there. But for the most part, I'm not using it unless it's 2 strikes. That's almost period. I'm not gonna use it to get a strike. And I want to use it with 2 outs, but that may change.
Well, what we've been seeing is that, first of all, I mean, this shouldn't be a shocker. Catchers are the best at it. Batters are a little bit worse than the catchers are. And honestly, the teams that are telling pitchers just don't like leave this up to your catcher. Do not signal for a challenge. The pitchers look like shocker. They're the worst at it. They think everything's a strike. I've seen, we've seen a few successful pitcher challenges, but I think in general, especially if you've got Patrick Bailey, just leave it to Patrick. He knows.
Trust him.
Trust him.
Just trust Patrick. Susan, thank you so much. I appreciate the time. What's the? I enjoy watching you and FP do your thing. I don't know if you're going to be doing that throughout the course of the season, but are you? Tell everybody where they can watch that, because it's look, I love both of you guys, and just listening to you guys is fun. Talking baseball, but you guys do such a good job, and you guys have a good chemistry together.
Oh, thank you. First of all, he's one of my best friends. So it's just been super fun talking to FP, but it's a Foul Territory Network podcast show, Splash Hit Territory, me and FP. I'm a regular contributor. FP is on all the time. He'll have some other guests here and there scattered. I might travel and all of that stuff. I'm not always available, and my the demands of my regular job at the San Francisco Chronicle. So read the Chronicle, but also if you want to hear just Giants content, and with, he played for the A's, I cover the A's. We throw in a few A's references. Apologies to Giants fans. We try not to too much, but it's been so fun. Yeah, we really enjoy doing it. We're both chatters. We're both talkers. He sits next to me in the press box when he's not on the air anyway, and all we do is sit and talk. So essentially, it feels like that. It feels like sitting in the press box talking to me about baseball.
That's awesome. Before you go, lie to me and tell me the Angels aren't going to be as bad as I think they are this year.
You know what?
You're going to try. Wow. Okay.
No, you know what? Consensus is that they will be better. Now, is this the Rockies look like they're going to be better situation? I think this is better. Yes. I think it's more than that. I think this is. I think they legit, and in a division that I think is going to be pretty even. The Mariners kind of jump out, but I think that they'll certainly be better. And in that division, potentially they could finish second, maybe.
No, please, second.
Okay.
Is everybody else going to die?
Maybe third.
I mean, there's not a chance they're finishing second. I just want to be, what really makes me upset is the A's, who have just been awful, who aren't even trying to win, who are moving, who are playing in a 10,000-seat rinky-dink, they can't even call it a stadium. They're like losing fans and trying to hey, we're going to Vegas. We're going to Vegas. Where are we? We don't know where we are. We're here. We're playing. Even they're better. And they have guys that are worth like Wilson and Kurtz. And I'm like, what? Why are they getting these guys? Why do the A's always get these guys? And I just gotta be happy with Neto. And I love Neto, but that's it. It's like, okay, I got Neto. That's all I'm happy with. So what I'm saying is I'm pissed off that even the A's went below the Angels and are now back up ahead of the Angels and are heading in the right direction. And it's just, why couldn't Artie sell that summer? Why couldn't he just sell to somebody, just anybody?
Truth. Okay, so here's my little A's segment that apparently I can't get away from. They always draft and develop pretty well. The last few years, they've done a spectacular job. And here's one thing I will say, as unhappy as I am, along with every A's fan and most of the Bay Area media, that they're now in Sacramento and then will be in Las Vegas. They actually are signing some of these good young players to long-term deals, which is, it's been a long time since they did that. So I got to give them credit for doing that. First of all, for getting some incredible young players. Look, do they need more pitching? Yeah, they definitely need more pitching. They could spend more on the free agent market. They've done a little bit of that. But there is say what you will about the A's ownership. The front office remains just one of the best in the game, and all the staff and the personnel, it's all the same people who were in Oakland, and it probably will continue to be. Those people know what they're doing, and they are absolutely dedicated to the A's. But David Forst and his people just do a tremendous job. Mark Kotsay does a tremendous job. Drafting, development. Eric Kubota, one of the best in the business, remains one of the best in business. So, I still have a very soft spot in my heart for the A's. Yeah. A lot of people in the Bay Area do. I wish them well. Whatever people's thoughts on ownership aside, that, the players, the personnel have nothing to do with that, the internal people. And I think most of them would rather be in the Bay Area. Most of them live here or from here, been here a long time, love the fan group. So I don't know. But it's not a bad team.
No.
A lot of really, really fun talent.
It's not a bad team. The Angels just draft you and say 4 days later, hey, welcome to the big leagues. Good luck.
You got former A's catcher Kurt Suzuki as your manager. I would not have called that. But,
on a big 1 year deal. That always works out well. I don't think I've ever seen a first time manager sign a 1 year deal. I mean, are you kidding? I'm going to let you go before we
can talk all day, Tom. It's probably not the best.
I don't want to. The season's starting. My son's cursing me because my son's like, Dad, why'd you have to be an Angels fan? Now I'm an Angels fan, and couldn't you have liked somebody else? I'm like, I could have, but I go, it was much better 20 years ago when Socha was there. Too bad you weren't old enough to really appreciate those those Angels where everybody batted over 300 and they made the playoffs every year and Vladdy Guerrero was winning MVPs. And I go, it was so much fun. And he goes, yeah, but I was like 4. I was like, well, I'm sorry. You missed out on it. So anyway, I know, look, no one wants to hear me do this. I do it every single year, and I'll do it throughout the course of the year when I'm doing this podcast talking baseball. I just can't get away from it. But it just, anyway, thank you so much, Susan.
My pleasure. I love talking Angels with you, Tom.
No, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't. You get too much pleasure out of it. Hey, have a great season. Hopefully, I'll be able to catch up with you at some point.
That's a plan.
Be at the ballpark, say hi. It's always great seeing you. And thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Back at you. I love seeing you. This is fun.
Love it, Susan. Thank you. Oh, man, she's the best. Yeah, she always, every single year, that was like a capper to the conversation. She tried to convince me the Angels were going to be better than they were. Like, Tom, I could see them finishing. No. She said second. Not a chance. They're finishing last. They will be last in the division. Last. The only way they won't end up last in the division is if they add the Rockies to the division. Then maybe they won't. So, look, that's my deal. And again, if you're listening to this, you're just gonna have to put up with it occasionally. You're gonna have to put up with it occasionally. Me ranting, because I will. I feel like I'm a Cubs fan or a Red Sox fan before they actually won a World Series. Here's the difference. Those teams are like national teams that like millions of people, millions upon millions and that love. And the Angels actually have won a World Series. It just feels like it's been since 1904. But it's been since 2002. Giants fans will know this. 2002 since they won a World Series. But man, yeah, it's rough. Even when Giants fans were going through it, I'm like, oh, please. I'll trade spots with you in a heartbeat. So yeah, we'll get into that. Want to let everybody know the show is brought to you by Fieldwork, the official non-alcoholic craft beer of your San Jose Sharks, who have hit a little bit of a bump lately. Kind of scuffling. You're not getting your 50% off beer. I think Toffoli's kind of nicked up, so lower body. So you're not even getting that. It's like just we need to get this thing turned around. So if you're heading down to the tank, which I might head down to the tank this weekend, catch my Wildcats, who made it to the Sweet 16. Got to be honest, when I was playing, everybody made a big deal of the Sweet 16. We beat Cornell and Seton Hall. I was like, it's really, it's great, I guess, but we're the number 1 seed. Not that big a deal. We should be here in the Sweet 16. I think we beat Cornell by 40 and Seton Hall by 30. It's like, okay, yeah, great. Woohoo, Sweet 16. Yeah, we're here. Now getting to the Final Four was a big deal because now you're playing. We played Iowa and North Carolina to get to the Final Four. So anyway, so we'll get into that maybe a little bit later on this week. Is Cinderella dead? It appears. We talked to Dan Wetzel about that last week. It's like, well, let's wait. It's only been 1 year. And then after the first round, people are like, oh, maybe Cinderella isn't dead. And then now maybe Cinderella is dead. Maybe the mid-majors are toast. Small conferences, toast. It's going to be all about the big boys now. And so it should be a fun game, though. Arizona, Arkansas down at the tank. I wonder if they'll be serving field work during, I don't know, NCAA games. I went to an NCAA game once. They didn't even serve beer. It's like, what are you kidding me? You still need a license to get beer. Why can't I buy beer? What is it, a bad example to set to the kids? They're out there with bongs in the parking lot, and I can't have a beer while I'm watching the basketball game? You kidding me? I think over the last few years, most venues are serving alcohol now because they're realizing, hey, you know what? We can make some money off this alcohol gig. Like we just serve beer, we can make more money, and more money is a good thing. So hopefully they'll have beer there, and if they have beer there, hopefully they'll have field work there. So not only the non-alcoholic variety. If you're down there for a Sharks game, you can get some pulp. Like I said, I think they had Clear Skies, they had Hazy Train. Last time I was there, Hazy Train is a hazy IPA. Clear Skies is a West Coast IPA. Pulp is more of a East Coast, Northeast, as they call it, hazy. Good stuff. So if you go down there, make sure you grab yourself a field work and enjoy some Sharks hockey and see if we could see if the Sharks can get things turned around a little bit. They're kind of falling out of playoff contention. And so everybody have a great day. The rest of this week, by the way, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be doing guest-wise. Now, I know for a fact, and if you want to come out and join us, we'd love to have you Friday. Friday, we're going to be at Field Work in China Basin, right across from the ballpark. We're going to be there, I think. What is it? Can you throw up the I don't know if we have the our little logo, not the logo, but the screenshot. There we go. I thought it was 12-1. So 12-1, we're going to be over there. So if you want to come by on Friday, going to be there 12-1, broadcasting live. May have some goodies for you. I might even have some the Warriors tickets for you because I get my own Warrior tickets. So maybe I'll just give a pair of tickets away. I can do that. My tickets, I'll give you a pair of tickets to the like a contest or something and get some Warrior tickets. I got some decent games coming up. So come on by, 12-1, over at Fieldwork. Grab yourself a beverage before you head to the game. Or if you don't have tickets to the game, you can hang out. I think we're 50-50 going to be watching the game there. I got a Warrior game that night. So I got to hang out after the show and watch the little Giants-Yankees, and then I will head over for the Warriors. I'm not even sure who the Warriors are playing. I think Wednesday they're playing the Nets. I'm not sure who they're playing Friday. Same thing when I played. I had no idea who we played on any given week. I always knew like one, maybe two games ahead. But as far as like who are you playing at the end of the week, no idea. Just if we're on the road, just tell me. There's a reason coaches and trainers used to tell us after practice, playing tomorrow, 4:00, be there at 3:00. They would tell you this because they know no one's paying attention. No one's paying attention to the schedule. It's like you might pay attention one game out, maybe two. After that, it's just such a blur. Now you're getting on planes, you're in different cities. So we planned, we got Detroit, okay, this road trip, okay, that road trip, okay, we got this one. So again, I have no idea who they play Friday. There you go, Wizards. Wow. That's a wrong basketball team, by the way. That is a wrong basketball team. I mean, what they're throwing out there right now, that's a crime. Like if I'm paying money to go see a Wizards game, woof. Like I paid full freight for this. And look, I was one of those players. I wouldn't pay full freight to watch 5 of me out there. I tell you that right now. Now I'd be happy I was playing. And I was happy I was playing. I was pumped I was playing. Doesn't mean I'm naive enough to think that everybody was happy I was playing 35 minutes. And they certainly didn't want to see 5 of me playing 35 minutes. That they didn't want to see. That's what they're doing in Washington. They're just throwing dudes like, I couldn't even tell you who's playing for, like, who was out there for Washington. Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr, Will Riley, I think, played. Illinois kid. Anyway, that's enough. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. So the Warriors, I don't care who plays. Wednesday, Friday, they should win. But then again, the Warriors right now have been playing better against teams that are pretty good. And then they go against teams that aren't great, and they been having a little bit of a struggle. I mean, Atlanta just smashed them in the second half. I'm guessing the Kuminga revenge game didn't go quite as Kuminga envisioned. It's a tough game. You know, the emotions had to just be raging through his body. Like he wanted to go out there and just stick it to the Warriors. And instead he went 1 for 9. Sometimes the emotions can get the best of you. So I know everybody wants the first month of the Kuminga trade to be a referendum on who won the trade. Give it some time. Let's wait until next year. See how JK does. See if the Warriors, see if Porzingis can be a Warrior and be a Warrior that's on the court more than not. So who knows? I don't know who won this trade, but you probably won't know, how Kuminga is going to fit in with Atlanta until next year. See where he's at in the rotation, give him a full offseason, let him get acclimated to the city, his teammates. But that wasn't, no matter how he played that game, that wasn't going to tell me one thing about Jonathan Kuminga that I didn't already know. And you know how I felt about him. I wasn't the biggest fan, talented, and I hope he does well. Hope he makes lots of money, and hope he does well with whatever team he plays for. And so he's had some good games with Atlanta, had some rough games with Atlanta, to be expected. So, but anyway, we'll see if the Warriors get a couple. It doesn't really matter. 9th, 10th. We're talking 7th, 8th. Now it's 9th, 10th. 9th, 10th. So we'll see. I got a big 5-game homestand near the end of the season. Couldn't tell you who's a part of that one either, except for the Spurs. I know that. How do I know that? Because somebody asked me for tickets, and I gave them Spurs tickets. So there you go. That's how I know the Spurs are part of it. Anyway, thank you to Susan for coming on. She's the best. I love talking to Susan. That's the one thing I miss about doing the radio, is getting a chance to talk to everybody on a more regular basis. Now I do get a chance to talk to everybody that I've talked to, and it's fun. Brent's the one that I talk to once a week, and then Steve and all those guys. But Susan, I miss talking to her. Dave Flemming, miss talking to him. You miss talking to all these people that you create bonds with and friendships with. But the fact that they're willing to come on here and bullshit with me for 30 to 45 minutes means a lot, because I enjoy doing it. Kind of keeps that connection going between the two of us. So anyway, all right, coming up Friday, show, field work, China Basin. Stop on by, have a beer, say hi. I'll give away some tickets. And then I'm not sure what we're going to do the rest of the week. But as soon as we know, you'll know. Until then, have a great day. See ya.
And remember this, Tommy T, cash and tickets is what it's all about.